Hey guys, Seth Fuller, your favorite lawyer and favorite MMA judge here with a heavy heart. Just about once a month for the last 10 years when I went to a fight night, went to work or watch a fight. There was a guy there, we called Mike, his full name Michael Hickmon, and just the nicest guy you could ever meet. And we would spend a lot of time talking and talking combat sports, boxing. He was a big boxing fan. He didn't just, he was a timekeeper for the TDLR. So he would keep the time, which is, one of the most unsung jobs there is. It's necessary, but you get no glory except to be cage side for a lot of fights. And I know he loved boxing, and we would talk forever about that. And he would try to talk football, which I have no idea for. And let me go right there, because this kind of gets to the heart of the matter. I've never been into team sports. Now, just because I'm not into something doesn't mean I'm slamming it. I think team sports has its advantages and its drawbacks. But one of the drawbacks I see is to me, it's all about getting, reining in our primal forces, right? We have these primal need to fight each other and to compete against each other. And I think it all gets down to fighting. And that's why I love fighting so much. Is because it's just two people. There's no arms race. There's no anything like that. It's just me and you, and we're going to fight it out. And one of the craziest aspects of that is that at the end of almost every fight, they hug, and the beefs are gone. There's very rarely that any fighter carries their arguments or their petty things outside of the fighting arena. However, in the team sports, it seems like nearly every game I watch, which isn't a lot, they break out into a fight because the rules, the competition just isn't the same as fighting. And so the final thing you can do is fight. I always say you never see a football game break out at a fight, but you see tons of fights break out at football games. And I think the reason this is because we are trying to rein in these innate primal responses that we're supposed to have. And say what you want about fighting, you exercise those. And at the end of those, just like after any exercise, you feel better and you've released the petty things that got you there. And in the team sports, except with the exception of maybe hockey, I don't see that happening. They carry these grudges. They don't get rid of their demons. You see this constant tension. And the reason I'm saying that is because a couple of days ago, Coach Mike was coaching his 9-year-old son at a Little League football game. Now, again, I got a 9-year-old daughter, an 11-year-old son. So this hits really close to home to me. Now, I'd read about this already in the news. It made national news, but they didn't really identify the victim at first. But essentially, there was a silly, I don't know what it was. Had to be something so petty. There's nothing at a Little League football game is important. But apparently an argument broke out amongst the coaches and then amongst the officials. And then at some point, one of the coaches from the other team shoots Mike with about 80 kids standing around watching it. Now, when I read this, I thought it was bananas. I get this sense when I think about these things, like, what a waste. All over a game of run and pass the ball. I mean, again, I know Mike loved it and was dedicated to it, but he also loved boxing, where if he had hard feelings on the field, he could work them out. Unfortunately, some dumbass who couldn't control themselves and obviously didn't have that outlet, decided that deadly force was the final only solution. And he shot Mike dead on the field in front of his son and in front of all his son's teammates and in front of all his players. Like, he's the coach. Can you imagine that? In any event, I'm making this video because his face and his name is all over the internet before they even released the victim's name, and I'm sure there were reasons for that. Minutes before I made this, he did turn himself in through his attorney, and again, I hope he reaches justice. But more importantly, I don't care about him. I'm not even going to mention his name. I'm going to mention Mike Hickmon. Mike had to is wrenched away from his family. His son will never see him again. His players will never be coached by him again. His wife will never lay by him again. And he was just the nicest guy, as evidenced by everybody who came across him, the people on his team, all the people in the fighting world who knew him. Again, I know he was just a local guy, but I thought it was worth making a quick video to say, I'm sorry, Mike. Rest in peace, my friend. We'll miss you greatly at every fight. We'll remember you at every fight. And condolences to his family. And I'd like to end saying one thing, that whatever caused it was petty, just like almost any fights. Whatever caused somebody to get this riled up was petty and unnecessary. And I'm confident that if Mike and this guy would have had a chance to square up and really fight it out without being separated, without anybody getting in between, if they were allowed to just really square it up and have at their differences, that even though many people would think that would be traumatic for the children, I think seeing them hug at the end, which I'm very confident would have happened, would have been awesome. But more importantly, I know Mike would have whooped his bitch ass. But he never got that opportunity. Instead, he was gunned down. And he will be forever missed. And I hope he's home in heaven. Have a good day, y'all.